Hey guys, on today's video I'm going to be talking about the higher education system, just a little more in depth. I'm going to talk a little bit about student loan debt. So the first thing I want to start out with is kind of mention, like I said in the last video, that tuition at four-year universities has risen 213%, and that it would cost roughly about $3,500 today than like it did in 1987 if it was adjusted for today, which is pretty much what community college cost. Whereas today, four-year universities are almost $10,000. So that was my first thing. I thought community colleges were a better investment. And then, like I touched on the 1.5 trillion student loan debt. And so some of the top universities, I got this from U.S. News and World Report. Some of them were Princeton, Harvard, Columbia, MIT, University of Chicago, Yale, Stanford, Duke, University of Pennsylvania, Johns Hopkins. And so I think most of those schools you would kind of guess, a lot of the prestigious universities. And I got this from Forbes: 44 million borrowers who collectively owe 1.5 trillion. Class of 2016 had an average of $37,000 in student loan debt. That's quite the amount of money. One of the things I thought was interesting is that Forbes argued that the student loan debt really isn't affecting the economy that much because students still use the money that they're borrowing on tuition, rent, food, and books. And while that's true in those sectors that the money is being spent, I just don't think that does the economy at large justice. I think there's a lot more that goes into the United States economy than just those things. So you've got things like technology. I doubt any of those people are buying houses because that's talking about people in school still. I highly doubt that. You got car loans, gas, things of that nature that aren't being, the money's not being spent. And technology is something that that market is huge. If you look at phones, computers, video game systems, all of that stuff, I doubt anybody's really spending money on that. And so that was one of the things I wanted to talk about because Forbes had argued that it really is not being affected, that some reputable news outlets were arguing that, and they didn't think that was true, but I disagree with Forbes on that. I do think that, some of that money, like they said, is being spent on rent, food, and books, but I just don't think that is the economy at large. So I do think that there is some effects that are happening and going to continue to happen. I don't think as many people, and this is one of the things that I've noticed throughout time, is that if you look at some of the articles and stuff mentioned, that some of the traditional restaurants that you sit in and eat at, some of them really can't keep up anymore. They aren't making very much money. I think some of that has to do with people just don't have the disposable income to go and sit in a restaurant where it's typically going to be a little more expensive, a better quality meal, that they're going to eat more fast food or stuff that's cheaper. So I do think that has an effect. Now, I found this interesting. 11.5% of borrowers who began payments on October 1st, 2013, defaulted by September 30th, 2016. That's 5 million repayees, of which 580,000 defaulted. Millions of people had not made payments on $144 billion. Like I said in the last video, when you got a ton of people who are getting bachelor's degrees, that closes some of the market because there's a lot more people that are going to have jobs in that, yes, but then there's a substantial amount of people that aren't going to be able to get the jobs that they went to school for, so they have to settle for traditional jobs, maybe in retail or something of that nature, where they're not making near enough money that they had really planned on to pay off those loans. I've worked with people myself who, had degrees to be a teacher or something of that nature, where they're working in retail, just a job that's paying them $9.50 an hour, and that is not what they were expecting to make. So how are they going to make those payments? They can't. And I can promise you they're not getting a house. Most of them are still living with their parents, which is fine, but that's going to affect the economy. So that in terms of the rent while you're in school, sure, but what about when you get out? You're not going to have as much money, especially when you got all these debts to pay off. So that was something that I really wanted to touch on and just mention a little bit. And I mean, I'm not sure what we're going to do about it, because it really is an issue. And as more people are going to college, it's just going to continue to become more of an issue. And it's something that we really need to take seriously and figure out a solution to before it becomes a major issue too far down the line. So just let me know what you guys think, if you agree with me, disagree. And if you have any suggestions on video in the future, feel free to leave that too. And have a good day.